Hello and welcome to this PlatformCon Talk 2024, during which I will explain a little bit how a CLI can revolutionize your developer experience within your organization. Before deep diving into that topic, I would like just to do a step back and explain a little bit what is a internal developer platform and from where it is coming from. As you might already be facing nowadays, we have more and more technologies and more frameworks coming into the picture, which is increasing complexity and the knowledge of our software engineers, which is as well introducing some connective loads from their side, and which is kind of difficult to mainly focus on the main core business, which is to deliver software to answer business needs. One of the second points that most of the companies are facing nowadays is as well the common usage of standardization when it comes to frameworks, when it comes to templating, when it comes to configuration of different type of toolings or applications. It requires some sort of standardization across all your different teams, for which we need to have a one central place that you can promote all those different, um, let's say, components. One of the third thing is the capacity or the capability to reduce dependencies with the other teams, delivering some transversal components. Therefore, the possibility to have a self-servicing approach is also an interesting idea where delivery teams or DevOps teams would be able to directly promote themselves environment, promote themselves some configurations or architecture on cloud providers, for instance. And last but not least, the entire ecosystem of our software engineers would be also increased by having some better developer experience. When it comes to DevEx, we are thinking also about onboarding or about how to figure out or to find the proper documentation in your organization and how you can automate as much as possible the little things which are creating some frictions upon their daily work. So how can we enable those IDPs? Because IDPs, from the heart's point of view, it's some concepts, an idea or an approach that you would like to bring an entire platform for your software engineers to engage them more in your organization. That's why we have some different toolings. Toolings part of a ecosystem that will bring or enable this IDP. You could have service catalogs. You could have developer portals as well, like Backstage or Service Catalog for ServiceNow, for instance. You can also bring some APIs to interact between your different services. Like, for instance, the Service Catalog, for instance, ServiceNow would interact with other components such as Azure DevOps, GitHub, or even some API server from Kubernetes to actually deploy new stuff from an automated way point of view. You have also another capabilities that would be easy to put in place is to create your own user interfaces or your own applications. Putting in place a developer portal would be not that easy because again, we would go back to the same situation where we'll bring another tool, another stuff that people would need to learn. And of course, going to the market and looking at another developer portal might be counterintuitive when it comes about IDP. And last but not least, this is something that we all use in our daily work, which are command line interfaces. When it comes to interacting with Azure, for instance, using Azure CLI or AWS using the AWS CLI as well, or even also Kubernetes or Docker, all those type of companies slash features or components are coming aside with some CLIs. So why not building your own CLI within your organization? And that would be the entire discussion and the entire hands-ons that I would like to showcase during this talk. My name is Kevin. I'm the founder of DevEx, and what I will show you within this presentation will be part of the GitHub organization DevEx under the repository 2024-platformcon-talk. You will see the presentation itself. I'm using the MARP plugin to actually show those slides using some Markdown language. And you can have also some other insights coming into the DevEx official website or my own LinkedIn profile on Beaulieu Kevin. Before going to the hands-ons, I would like just to introduce some few concepts that is really critical when building your own CLI in your organization. you should absolutely think about your CLI as a pure product on its own. What does it mean? It means you need to have a clear manual page which is being hosted somewhere else that people should rely on to see what are the different capabilities, comments, subcomments, arguments, options you can use to be able to use your CLI. You should really focus on a pure and seamless developer experience. What does it mean? All the naming conventions, everything you would put in place from your CLI point of view should be crystal clear. You should expect what you should see from a command point of view. If you say your CLI create, it should create something. If you say delete, it should delete something. You should be as much as specific when it comes to developer experience. Really critical as well is all about release notes. It's so frustrating that you have something that you are using, but you don't have an overview of what are the different things which are being updated or bug fixed, for instance, or new things which are upcoming into your backlog. Communication is key when it comes to IDPs in general. So find a way to automate your release notes and find a way to make your interaction with your customers, your software engineers, as much as possible seamless. A second point as well, in top of their release notes, is to have some proper analytics. Having analytics will allow you to understand the usage of your CLI in a good way or a bad way. You would see a little bit the behavior of the people as well. You will see that trends, if your CLI usage is going up or going down as well. And you would be able also to capture what people are actually typing. You can see also the behavior when people are trying to create something or to scaffold something or to automate the creation of an infrastructure just by typing things directly. So this will allow you to see the behavior of the people and to improve your products at the end. And of course, having a place where you can also receive feedback from your CLI would be also a must-have through, for instance, some inner source approach. Like if you host your CLI on some GitHub or some Azure DevOps or whatever type of SCM, start some discussions, start some comments or communities where people could start bringing some ideas, creating some user stories, creating some insights that would help bringing more values towards your product. Right. Based on all those points, I would focus on kind of a, let's say, simple example that you can already put in place. And of course, there is no kind of, let's say, standardization on which you should do this or should not do this. Of course, it's up to you. It depends on your organization as well. So let's deep dive into the kind of main idea of a structure you can bring towards your organization. So everything that you see here would be part of the source directory. I have built this CLI in PowerShell because I'm using Windows right now, but I could have created that CLI, for instance, in Python. In Python, you have thousands of libraries that could be useful for creating some CLIs. You have the arc which is also interesting, but in my case, just pure plain PowerShell without any kind of module, just to showcase that with simple scripting, you can do a lot of different stuff. So the main core two files are the install files, those two ones. The first one is that one that people would trigger to install their CLI within their environment, because thinking a CLI as a product, you should also think about the installation to make it seamless, to not ask people going to their terminal, please add this bin file or bin directory to your past environment variable. Automate it as well, make it seamless. So that first file is one of the files that people will just trigger or double click manually. And this one will just call the install.ps1. By calling this one, it will just set up the past environment variable and putting the bin directory, which is this one here, into my past environment variable. So that file will be recognized when I will start typing tb in my terminal, which is the case right now. If I start TB, like for instance toolbox, because we are in the toolbox talks now today. If I start TB, indeed, it is something which is being found under that path. If I would have started typing something which is not existing here, it would have said this otherwise. Something interesting by using some bat file here is you can rename that bat file, and just by typing, for instance, DevEx here, it will also find it immediately. If I start typing TB, it will not be found anymore. So that's pretty interesting. Just by changing the file name, you change the entire CLI name as well. Great. What is doing this bat file is just calling the command.ps1. The command.ps1 is that file and is acting just as a routing or router of the different subcommands that we would execute. For the sake of example here, I've just shown you two capabilities, one for the documentation and another one for the updates, just to show you a little bit how lifecycle of a CLI could also be handled through some Git repositories. So the first one here is the docs.ps1, and the docs.ps1, you can find it here. Simply as such, it is just calling a start process, and it will open a URL on your browser. So just by typing tb and docs here, it will open a homebrew documentation, simply as such. Then what about the updates of your CLI? Of course, there will be some other extra subcommands for which you can install some packages, you can install some scaffolding, you can call some APIs to create some architecture, you can do whatever you want basically. But here I will really focus on the main core product lifecycle. Let's say I would like to create a new version of my CLI. Right now, if I start typing tb update here, what will happen is checking if there's a new version is available, nothing new available. I'm running on the latest version, which is the 0.1.0, right? If I would like to create a new release, let's say, for instance, I would like to update, let's say that file here, and would like to append multiple exclamation mark. Great. So that file here that is on the left here will be on the local machines of all the users using the CLI. And if I would go to my subcommands and to my update here, let's update it manually first. Give me a second. Up. So let's update it manually and let's add multiple exclamation mark as such. I'll just commit my changes. That's perfect. And I just did that change, nothing else. So I have committed, it's part of the main branch here. But again, if I do a TB update, it won't do anything because I didn't create yet any kind of other releases, right? So I will go to my code here. So as you can see, no update is available. I will go to my release. And let's say I will create a new release and I will call it 0.2.0. Create new tag, CLI 0.2.0. Updated the update subcommand. Great. And I will publish it. And now I have a new tag or a new release 0.2.0 pointing to the tag 0.2.0 and pointing to a new commit, which is this one here. Now if I do a TB update again, checking if a new version is available, yes, I have one. 0.2.0 is available. If I would like to press no, it won't do anything, of course. If I would like to press yes, what it will do is simply one specific stuff, doing a git pull. So as you can see before, I was using git mechanism to actually fetch the latest tags and the latest head hashes to find the differences between what is on my remote repository and what is locally. And just by accepting the fact that this will be merged, I will do a git pull to merge everything into my main branch. By clicking on yes, it will also send the release notes. And this release notes is also sending this towards my personal mailbox here. And it will fetch my release notes from the markdown here. Great. Let's do it. Yes. It is sending the release note. It's done. So the version 0.2.0 has been updated. As you can see here, now we have multiple exclamation marks. That's perfect. I have received my release notes. That's perfect. With exactly what you were saying here within my Markdown language file. And that's perfect. So this is actually how to show you a little bit how some product lifecycle could be handled by having some proper usage of Git within your own CLI. Sky is the limit. You can do whatever you want. In several companies that I've been working for, I have created CLIs, for instance, to scaffold some applications or to also create some APIs within some other SaaS tools, like, for instance, Swagger Hub, or even scaffolding some other applications, or creating some infra directly by triggering some pipelines and using some Terraform scripts, for instance. So you have plenty of possibilities. Sky's the limit. Just think of your use cases you would like to cover, and building a CLI, as you can see, is pretty simple. I thank you a lot for your listening. And if you have any questions, I would definitely recommend to ask your questions within that repository, the 2024 PlatformCon talk. You can comment, start some discussions, or even send me an email directly to the developer at startdevex.com, for which will be glad to answer your questions and to help you in your journey of building your in-house CLIs in your organization. I wish you a nice day. See you. Bye.